Welcome to the New World Spiritual Vision. The story I share with you today is not mine alone. It is a story that flows in my blood, a tale whispered by the winds and sung by the village streams. It is the story of my family's encounter with the missionaries, a legacy passed down through generations like a sacred chieftaincy title. In our land, a man is not just himself. He is a link in a long, unbroken chain that stretches back to the very beginning of time. Our ancestors live within us. Their wisdom guides our hands. Their strength fortifies our hearts. Their faith lights our path. This spiritual inheritance is more precious than any physical wealth. It is the very soil from which our identity grows, the root that anchors us firmly in the world. No matter how fiercely the storms of change may blow, we did not learn of God from strangers. We knew God long before the first missionary set foot on our soil. Our God is also your God, because God is not culture-bound. God is everywhere, so you cannot take God to anywhere. He is the sun that warms the earth. He is the air we breathe, the rain that waters our crops, and the snow that invites all to play. We saw His hand in the plants, trees, insects, birds, fishes, and animals in our villages, and heard His voice in the thunder that splits the sky. Our ancestors did not need a book written in a foreign language to understand God. They lived in harmony with nature and with the spirits. They understood that spirituality was not a separate part of life, something to be practiced for an hour once a week. Spirituality was life itself. Every waking moment was an act of communion with the divine. This connection was our strength. It gave meaning to our joys and solace to our sorrows. It is about the present. It is about the future. It is about choices. A choice that every generation must make for itself. Do we hold fast to the wisdom of those who came before us, or do we cast it aside for new ways, new ideas, new gods brought by strangers from across the sea? This is the question my family faced. It shook the foundations of our clan and tested the bonds of kinship. The arrival of the missionaries was like a gentle rain at first. They came with soft words, sweet songs. They built their church in the remote part of the village. They offered medicine for our sicknesses, schools for our children. Many were drawn to their message of love and forgiveness. But does a native really need forgiveness from the same God that was used to enslave and to colonize him? But soon, the gentle rain turned into a raging storm. The missionaries began to say that our God was false. They called our sacred traditions heathen and primitive. They told us that our revered ancestors, the very pillars of our society, were burning in a place called hell. They set brother against brother, son against father. The unity of the clan began to crack. A man who once shared the kola nut with his neighbor now looked upon him with suspicion, wondering if he had forsaken the spirits of the land for the gods of the missionary. My father's generation stood at this crossroad. They saw the allure of the new way of life the missionaries brought, a world of Western education, of medicine that could cure strange diseases, and of a God who has a son that could forgive sins. Some of our kinsmen chose that path. They took on new names, wore new clothes, learned to read the Bible. They began to look down on the old ways, seeing them as a source of shame rather than pride. They were told that their past was darkness and that only the new faith could bring them into the light. This was the great question that hung over my childhood. Which path was the right one? Was our heritage a treasure to be cherished or a burden to be cast off? For my family, the answer did not come easily. It was not found in a single moment of revelation, but through a long and deliberate journey. My grandfather, a man whose face was a map of ancient wisdom, was our guide. He did not preach or command. Instead, he told us stories. He spoke of our great ancestors, He recounted the tales of our gods and goddesses. He explained the meaning behind our rituals, the deep significance of the family, the sacredness of life. He helped us see that our faith was not a collection of superstitions, but a profound and sophisticated way of understanding the world and our place in it. We started to see with new eyes. We realized that the missionaries were not offering a better God, but their cultural God, a God who looked like them with their laws and with their way of doing things. To accept their God meant we had no culture and we were inferior. A tree cannot flourish if its roots are severed from the soil that gave it life. And so we made our choice. It was not a choice against the gods of the missionaries, but a choice for our survival and dignity. It was an affirmation of our identity, a reclamation of our heritage. In short, we chose the God of our ancestors. We chose the wisdom whispered on the wind, the strength in creation, and the unity of the clan. This is also an invitation for you to listen, to reflect, and perhaps to begin your own journey back to the source, because your experiences matter. Before the first hymn of the missionaries reached our ears, we knew the Supreme Being. We called him different names because he is nameless. He is the Great Spirit, the source of all life, the one who holds the sun and the moon in his hands. He was not a king who ruled from a distance, but the very fabric of existence, the unseen weaver of all things. We did not build great temples of stone for him, for we believed his temple was the universe. Apart from the God of the universe, we also had our cultural gods that helped us to celebrate the different seasons of the year. Our cultural gods were not different from the gods of the missionaries, apart from the fact that the gods of the missionaries committed many crimes against humanity. We honor our cultural gods as the missionaries honor their cultural gods, and there was no need to replace our cultural gods with foreign cultural gods that commit heinous crimes. This belief fostered a powerful sense of collective responsibility. It became our duty to defend our cultural gods against the foreign gods. In the spiritual world of our ancestors, every person was accompanied by a soul. Your soul was your personal spirit, your other self in the spirit world. It recognized both personal effort and divine favor, a balance between personal responsibility and spiritual destiny. For my people, the world of the living and the world of the spirits were not two separate, distant realms. The bridge between them was our ancestors. When we poured libations, we were inviting our ancestors to drink with us, to reaffirm the bond that death could not break. Our faith was practiced in the village square. Our festivals were the highest expression of this sacred togetherness. My personal crisis came when I was a young man. I had done well in the missionary school. They wanted me to dedicate my life to their cultural gods. The turning point was the death of my grandfather. He held my hand. He looked into my eyes and told me, "Never forget who you are. A stream that forgets its source will soon run dry." But the priest at my school told me I could not participate in my grandfather's burial ceremony. He told me I had to choose. That night, I did not sleep. I sat outside in the darkness, listening to the funeral drums in the distance. Their rhythm spoke a language my soul understood. I asked myself, what kind of God would demand a son to dishonor his father and his grandfather? This did not seem like justice. It did not feel like love. The answer came quietly, in the form of a proverb my grandfather had often used. He used to say, "The world is like a mask dancing. If you want to see it well, you do not stand in one place." This is one of the reasons heroes in mythology leave for other places to improve their understanding. For some of us, the missionary took advantage of our ignorance and enslaved our minds. The slavery of the African mind is our last shackle. The libation was not just a river flowing one way from the past to us. It was a river that flowed both ways. a connection to our ancestors, and a promise to our descendants. That morning, I did not go to the church. I went to my father's compound. I joined my family. I was no longer torn apart. I had chosen to remain with my people. For too long, we were taught to be ashamed of our roots. My family's journey was a struggle to unlearn that shame and to find pride in who we are. Finding this pride is a revolutionary act. It is to see our gods not as demons, but as sacred, artistic expressions of the source of all things. It is to hear the village drums not as noise, but as the heartbeat of our community. This is the spiritual vision I share with you. A vision of people standing tall, not in opposition to others, but in celebration of their lives. Your roots are the source of your strength. Nurture them, water them, learn from them. The path forward is one of unity. It is about building bridges, not walls. Let us teach our children the stories of our ancestors alongside the stories of the world. Let us find our pride, not in opposing others, but in celebrating our contributions. This story is our family's testimony, but I know we are not alone. What is the story of your heritage? What wisdom have your ancestors passed down to you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story has moved you, please subscribe to our channel and join our community as we continue to explore the deep rivers of our shared human spirit. Thank you for listening.